Okay, I'm back with you.
Okay.
I'm hearing a bit of an echo, which means you probably have YouTube on, do you? Or something, or speakers?
No, maybe AOL. Should I close out that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm hearing myself coming back.
Is that better?
I think so. Yeah. Because we're live now on YouTube. So everybody's hearing us having a little chat.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are. Wonderful to have you, Dr. Canellas. Am I pronouncing your name properly?
You are. Thank you so much.
Yes, very good. I do try, you know. So this is your favorite host, Corinne Lafont of Between the Lines radio show. And I am so pleased and pumped to have Dr. Gregory Canellas here with us.
Thank you.
Today, we were just chatting a little bit before we went live and before we started pushing out through YouTube that he sent me this lengthy resume and I'm like, what the hell? Who's gonna read that? this lengthy academic, probably about 17, 18, 30, 40 page document. Hey, I gotta exaggerate. This is radio. So
no, you're right. It's about 20.
Right? I moved from like 12, 17, 30, 40 pages of resume. And I'm like, hell no. I mean, I can tell that the man is clearly qualified. And then when I look at his lovely, handsome, young face, I'm like, young, 40 pages? Really? Was he alive all that lengthy time? That doesn't work. So he has some explanation to do. He has some
explanation. I moved pretty quickly. I was
pretty quickly.
Yeah, I moved quickly and I finished my PhD at like 28.
We're going to come to you on that. We're going to come to you on that because having such a lengthy resume and looking as fabulous as you, something is not maxing out there. Okay? So I'm going to properly introduce Dr. Canellas. Now, let me just do his quick bio. So Dr. Canellas currently teaches in a clinical psychology doctoral program at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, Los Angeles campus, and is an adjunct professor of psychology at Pepperdine University and National University. He is a frequent presenter at regional, national, and international conferences on parenting and relationship issues, foster care, domestic trafficking of children. No, Dr. Canellas, you need to come back. Intimate partner violence, substance abuse, psychological treatment, and ethnic minority populations and LGBTQ issues. He has served as a program director at several nonprofit organizations overseeing the child and adult therapy programs and pregnant parenting teen programs. Dr. Canellas has also served as a children's social worker with the Department of Children and Family Services, as a clinical psychologist with the Department of Mental Health, and later as the clinical director of a family preservation program. He currently serves on the Commission on Youth and Children, Long Beach, California, a body that advises the mayor and city council on issues of importance to children, adolescents, and families in that city. Dr. Canellas, a formal and special welcome to you on Between the Lines.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on the show. Thank you.
Now listen to me. We're going to go straight into it, Dr. Canellas, and I am so excited to have you. But I am going to accommodate you on the show more than once without any fees, costs, anything. I would just bring you back. I'm so serious. We need to do more than one show with you because you speak on issues that are very important to me. I'm a mother. I'm a woman. And parenting is a topic that I'm passionate about. And you have issues there that are very current, especially the trafficking. I mean, all the issues are current, but the trafficking is very important. And the world needs to know what's going on, and we need to share how to deal with that, what's going on. But today we're going to focus specifically on 7 parenting tips that you can share to be an effective parent, for children. And my concern, my question to you is, why do we need to know this, Dr. Canellas? Why do we have to be taught to parent? It has always been, I don't know, should there be a parent in school? I don't understand. Should there be a parent in university?
Yeah, maybe not a parenting school, but at least a manual.
A
And a lot of
manual.
yeah, a lot of parents that I've worked with, say they just do what they learned from their parents and they repeat things. And some of those things are good, and other times they're not so good. There should be a manual. No one gets it when they have a kid and they leave the hospital, but there should be something, I think, for parents so that they're able to understand that process of parenting and how important that is in raising psychologically healthy kids.
But where would that have started? We came and met our parents. So they need to learn in order to teach us the right thing. And then their parents, our grandparents came and met their parents, the great grand. And if they
So there was a break of it, I think, a little bit. I didn't hear the last question that you asked.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. What I was saying is, I'm a mother, woman, and I came and met my parents. And my parents met their parents. And is it how far do we go back? At what point do we start? Because the manual I got was through my parents, and the manual my parents got was through their parents. So is it that we should just wipe the slate clean and say, look, all of y'all was doing the wrong thing. We need to be directed in the right direction now. Now we need to start over and we do the right thing.
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily wipe the slate clean, because there are things that I think in every families did right. And that stuff that's generational and passed down from generation to generation needs to be retained, like cultural issues, for example. A lot of families grow up with cultural issues that we wouldn't want to wipe out. But where there's things that I deal a lot with families who've had issues of domestic abuse, child abuse, partner violence, and those things, yes, they do need to be wiped out. So it's not that we can go back and deal with what previous generations did, because those things have happened already. But what we can try to do is correct the things that are not positive in our families, particularly families of color. There's history there.
I'm hearing myself, Dr. Canellas, echoing. I'm hearing myself echoing. You have something open there. Is it the speakers? Do you have speakers?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I have anything else on. I closed the window that I had open.
Because I'm hearing my voice coming back. I'm hearing an echo.
Okay. I don't hear an echo on this end.
On your end.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing an echo. I wonder why that may be, because I don't have anything here open. Let me just do a quick check.
Okay. And I'll do the same.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, no,
probably it's just the connection.
Okay.
Probably it's the connection. Yeah. Well, let's keep going.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So you are talking today about 7 tips that you want to share with parents to be more effective, or to be an effective parent. But before we go into those 7 tips, parents right now feel that what they are doing is effective. So why do we need to learn anything else to be effective? Are you telling me that I'm doing the wrong thing? I raised this child, right? Yeah. He's good, she's good, she's going to school, she's eating, she's drinking, there's a roof over their head. I mean, what? What do you mean by effective? Are you trying to say I'm a bad parent?
No, not at all. Not at all. But I think for most of us, everybody can improve. And that's when I'm working with parents, that's the way that I approach it. That most people want their kids to do better than they did. So the previous generation wants their generation, their offspring, and the offspring of their offspring to do better. And I think if we approach it in that way, parents are more open. So it's not about you doing something bad. It's about how can you be a better parent or person. Does that make sense?
And you, of course it makes it. And you know I had to come at you that way because
Yeah,
you know that's exactly how a parent is going to come at you and say, what are you saying?
absolutely.
You know, they're going to personalize it and say, you think
Yeah,
I'm being a bad parent?
yeah,
I've been doing good so far. My mother raised me well. And so they personalize it and don't realize that there may be things within you that you need to improve. We all have things to improve. And
absolutely.
we do want our generations to be better because
Uh-huh.
the next generation is supposed to always be better than the previous one.
Absolutely.
You're a clinical psychologist, are you?
Correct. Uh-huh. That's correct. Uh-huh.
So you know how to talk to the people
Yeah.
in order to get them to see the bigger picture.
Yes. And you're right. And that's
Yeah.
exactly the way that they usually come to me when I'm asking them or suggesting that there are some things that they can improve. It's like, well, I've been doing this and my parents did this and they did a good job with me. So what are you saying? Do I need to change
What are
this?
you saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was
But
fine. If it ain't broke, why fix it? If it ain't
exactly.
broke, why fix it? Right?
And in some
If it
cases,
was
it might be.
good,
Yeah,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
exactly. And that's true. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But in some cases, there may be some things that are broken that need to be fixed. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you a personal example. So my mom one day asked me, why do her grandkids need to hear her say, I love you? She said, why do they ask me or say, I love you, Grandma? Why do they say that so much? I'm like, well, Mom, there's different ways that people express love, and they need to say it, and they need to embrace you. They need to feel it. She's like, well, no, with my parents, they put a roof over my head and we had food and I knew they loved me. Like, okay, but it's a different generation now. They want to hear it.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things, I think, those are intergenerational things that are passed down that can be changed if the new generation wants something different from the previous generation. But yet, at first, she was like, "No, I don't get into that."
And I love that.
I can't say that
because there's a sensitivity. There's a sensitivity for the words coming out of your mouth to say, "I love you," and people have a difficulty saying. And I don't know. You're a clinical psychologist. You could probably tell me the explanation why some people have a difficulty in expressing love, in showing love. And I don't mean false love. I mean, I could say to you, I love you, Dr. Canellas. It's not that it doesn't mean anything to me, so I just say the words. I truly mean it, that I do love you. I love you as a person. I love you as a human being. I love you for the work that you're doing. I love you for being here on my show. It doesn't mean to say I'm in love with you, but I love you as a being, the value that you're adding to the planet, to people's lives. I love you for that. I can meet you in the States. I say, oh my gosh, I just love you, and hug you. And somebody listening might say, oh, she's in love with him. No, people interpret these things differently. And I like to tell people that I love them, total strangers, my children. I tell them that I love them because it is important to hear. It is important. Sometimes, not even sometimes, Dr. Canellas, it brings such a smile to people's faces. It changes whatever they were thinking before you came to them.
Yes.
It changes. It just snapped them out of whatever. And it changes. And I'm like, I brought a smile to somebody's face. I did I did it, you know, and I felt good leaving that person with a smile and joy in their heart, you know. So when you spoke about the intergenerational and you spoke about your mom, how do you also explain, and I'm throwing a lot of things at you, I told you I'm passionate about this topic, but how do you explain you being the son, she's the mother. Now remember, there's a status there. She's the mother, you're the son. And how is it now that you are coming to teach her how to parent? How do you deal with her with that?
Well, honestly, she asked the question, so she was ready for the answer. So sometimes she's not asked a question, and we'll have a conversation. But she particularly asked that question. She stopped me before I was leaving the house, and she asked that. It was important for her to ask it and to understand it. And I can honestly tell you, though, she did make a change. Even at her age, at the time she was probably in her mid-70s, she changed. And so she started telling her kids and her grandkids, I love you. But it wasn't comfortable for her. So you asked a few minutes ago, why do people have difficulty with that? If you weren't raised communicating in that way, I think it makes it harder to do that. And as she told me, her parents didn't say that. They expressed it in a different way by, providing for them, making sure that they were clothed, fed, had housing. And that was the way that they expressed it. But they had not been able to get that from their own parents. So it's breaking that stuff that's sometimes intergenerational, particularly with people of color, when it needs to be broken. And there are other things that we do that are strong, around culture and music and how we move and family and the importance of family that we don't want to get rid of, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Now let's move to the 7 tips. Let's move to the 7 tips, because I'm sure people are eagerly waiting to hear what those 7 tips to become a better parent and to be more effective at what they're doing. So you start, move from 1 straight through to 7.
Okay. So the first one is that there are protective factors. There are things that parents can do that will protect kids from having mental health issues, and in turn, like physical issues, because we know that the mental and the physical are very connected. So things like good communication, and that's linked to things that we're talking about now when we're talking about love and expressing that. So having good communication with your kids. Most of the families that I've worked with, they don't learn how to communicate within the family. So those parents can't teach it to their kids. So it's really helping kids to communicate. A lot of times in families of color, families will say kids are to be seen and not heard. And they don't want them to have opinions, but it's actually good for kids to have opinions. Now, to be respectful in that, though, not to be disrespectful, but it's good to cultivate that, because when they get into the larger world, they're expected to have those things. So good communication would be one of them. Encouraging kids, letting them not run wild or run amok, but encouraging them to have some kind of independence, and that can help them in the long run. So a lot of families, they don't stress that enough. I know in the U.S., a lot of times people will say that Black mothers raise their daughters and love their sons. And so in some ways, we see differences in how things have unfolded in the U.S. with Black women who are much more educated and career-minded, and Black men not so much. Not across the board, but certainly when you look at the statistics, that's what seems to bear out. So it's allowing kids to do what's necessary and providing that structure for them, regardless of the gender, if that is clear. And then there are risk factors, and those risk factors are the opposite of the protective factors. So poor communication, not letting kids be autonomous, those kinds of things are risk factors for kids. One of the things that comes up a lot here too is cell phones. And I don't know if that comes up with a lot of the parents that you work with. Cell phones here are
cell phones.
Yes, and the kids use those quite a bit. So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Dr. Kanea. Did I tell you I need to bring you back?
Probably just on a show just on that, right?
Just on that.
Yeah. So I could do a whole show on that.
Yeah.
The cell phone.
Come back.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to do a whole show on that.
Okay. And how that's a positive thing, that there's a lot of positives that come from it, but there are a lot of negatives too. And most families are not spending as much quality time. That's one of the 7 tips, is that also sometimes impedes it, because kids are on the phone, they're using the phone, they're making these texts and stuff, and sometimes the parents too. And I'm guilty of it too. I've told the students before that I found out that I was guilty of it when I was sitting in church and I was texting people about brunch plans. And pastors
Dr. Cornelius. Dr. Cornelius.
Pastor's looking down like, what are you doing? I'm like, you're gonna miss you going to heaven because you're busy texting people that are backsliders who are trying to eat brunch. So I think we all do it, and it's being mindful of that so that we're able to spend more quality time with each other.
You're gonna miss going to heaven. Oh
exactly.
My God.
Yeah.
You're at the back of the line.
Exactly. So I changed it though, because I want to be at the back of the line. I want to be at the front. I changed it. Yeah, but those kinds of things I think are important. And then being really mindful of education and really following up on education. So I have a lot of parents who do that really well, and those kids tend to succeed in high school and then go on to college. And the families that don't do that as well, that's where we have, I think, a lot of problems where kids get into truancy, they get sometimes drugs or crime. And so really following up on those things. Those are the 7 that I think are really most important.
Okay. Now, what came to me, like for me, my parenting style is to allow a child to be. I believe you as the parent, after going through life, you're supposed to know better. We think back on our own lives, what we didn't get, and we want the best for our children, yes, but we mustn't live our lives through our children. So let's say I was supposed to be ice skater or something. I didn't get to do it. I'm not going to force my child to become an ice skater because no, I believe my child I must see certain talents coming out of my child. And I must encourage those talents. So it doesn't matter what it is. So like my children are very good when it comes to playing music, piano. They get that thing like nothing. And I encourage it for them to play the piano. No, I can't figure it, and I love to hear them play it and whatever. They took it up to a certain point, and I'm determined. They stopped, but I'm determined that they must pursue it because music is good for both left and right side of your brain.
Absolutely.
And it is, I believe music does a lot for the soul, and it just is calming. And besides that, it allows you educationally to get into a lot of universities because you have the qualifications for music. So there's so many benefits to it.
Absolutely.
But we must look at the talent. So some people might look down and say, oh, football, that's what you want to do? Are you crazy? You can't be doing football. None of my children is going to come playing football, right? And football may be the thing that allows you to get out there and open a lot of other opportunities for your siblings or for others.
Yes.
So our role is not, this is my style of parenting, which may not be in keeping with others, but my style is to let children be. See what their talents are, encourage it, push it as far as you can, encourage them, support them, be there with them, love them, but don't force your ideals, your ways, what you didn't get onto them. They're going to be unhappy. They're going to be unhappy. I know of persons within my age group that I went to university with, and some of them went into a medical degree, engineering degree, whatever. And now they are not a doctor. They're not into engineering. They said, well, I did it for my mother, my father, my parents, and I hand them the certificate when I was done, and then went on to do what I wanted to do. So they spend the 4 years or 5 or how many years sacrificing to hand the paper over to their parents, and then went on to do what they wanted to do. So it was like a defiance. Oh, you want me to do this? Good. Here, hold it, keep it, sleep with it, hug it up. But I'm not.
I'm going to do that. Okay. Yeah, you have given great examples of what I was talking about when I was talking about autonomy. So you want kids to be able to do what's pleasing to them. Because I think ultimately parents want their kids to be happy. Sometimes they just don't know how to go about making that happen. So doing what you're doing is absolutely correct. You want your kids to be independent people, to have their own thoughts, to have their own interests, and for that to be explored and appreciated and valued by their parents. Because a lot of times people do what you said, your colleagues did. They do stuff to please their parents, but it doesn't make them internally happy. And ultimately, I think we want people to be happy. That's where I am.
That's what we say.
Yes.
That's what we say.
Yes.
And our parents would say that word. Our parents will say that word, Dr. Canellas. But some of them, they're saying it, you know. But they're like, and there are some of them might say, Happy, look here. Could you go to the supermarket with Happy? Could you mind your children with Happy? Could you pay the damn bills with Happy?
You have to be practical. You have to be practical too. Happy doesn't pay the bills. They don't worry about that. Happy doesn't get groceries. But ultimately, we want people to choose things that they do to pay the bills that make them happy. So I was telling my students yesterday that I'm at a place where I want to be 90% happy. Everything that I do, I want it to be joyful, happy. I want to have a good time. And 10% I'll allow for the, you know, the sad stuff that comes along, the lessons that come and are disguised as lessons, but they're blessings, you know, combination of blessing and lessons, but only 10%. The rest of the time I want to be happy. And so I think we want to encourage people to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we have limited time sometimes.
I would give you your 90%, but I want to be 100% plus tax. I want to be 100% plus tax.
I would like to be.
I must be crazily out of the box happy. If I'm not doing something to make me happy, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. And if you step into my life and make me just a tad sad, you're out. You're out. Get out.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's where I'm now too.
Yeah, you need to go.
If you're bringing pain, you gotta go.
You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go.
Yeah.
Right.
But sometimes there are situations that happen naturally, like people pass away, they're deaths, things like that. So I'm allowing a little bit for that kind of experience and feeling, because you can't be happy, I think, when those kinds of things happen.
Yeah.
But other than that, yes, as close as I can get to 100%.
Plus tax.
Plus tax. Yeah, we're on the same page. Yeah, and that's what we want, I think, our kids to do. We want kids, you know, your own children, nieces, nephews, extended family.
Yeah.
We want that for them.
No, when our parents, they want the best for us, Dr. Canellas. I think people generally want the best, and like you said, they just don't know how to communicate that, how to share that. So our parents will see we're going down a road. No, they feel they know. Let me say it like that. They feel they know where it's going to lead, because based on their experience, that's where it went. Or based on what they have seen from others, that's where it went. So clearly, you are heading there. And they try to avoid that by getting involved and coming to tell you, that's where it's going to go. This is going to happen. Don't do that. But you just don't know. And it doesn't allow, for me, this is my thinking, when you step in like that, it doesn't allow your son or daughter to feel confident in the decisions that they make and the choices that they make.
Yeah.
And it doesn't allow them that freedom and flexibility for critical thinking.
Exactly.
So it attacks their self-esteem. It attacks their ability to do anything, and they feel that, oh, well, I don't need to think. I just need to come to my mother, my father, and they will tell me what to do. Or I go to somebody and they tell me what to do. That's not healthy to me.
Yeah.
And even if you see, I mean, we want to protect our children. Don't get me wrong. I don't want listeners to think that I am a parent that will allow my child to just jump off the cliff. Well, if that's what they want to do, well, hell, go ahead. But, you know, but I wouldn't want to see my child jump off the cliff.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? There's a certain point at which you need to step back, or you safely give that advice. Tell me how, as a clinical psychologist, how we can, as parents listening to this, going through this, can maneuver themselves.
Yes. So again, I think that's connected to our discussion about autonomy and helping kids to become more autonomous. And part of that for parents as kids age is they need to pull back a little bit on advice giving. When kids are younger, obviously they have to have structure. if they don't have the structure, then that's a different kind of problem that we'll see when they're adolescents and adults. But as they age, adolescents, young adults, parents have to remember that they need to pull back somewhat. You can offer advice, you can tell people what you think, but don't try to influence their decision making. So with my mom and my dad, some of the things that they told me as an adolescent, as a young adult, I was like, yeah, I don't want to hear that. But they may have been right in some cases because they had life experience. And so I would take that in, and sometimes it would change the direction that I would take. And other times I would say, I'm not going to listen to them. And I go another direction, and I learned a lesson from that. But the lesson is mine. So the parent, I think, has to back up and know that the kid is going to experience, whether it's protecting them and they decide not to go that road, or they take their own path, and there's maybe lessons with it, or there's joy and happiness, that they need to make that decision for themselves. And regardless of what happens, there's a lesson in it and a blessing in that too.
Yeah. I like how you talk back, Dr. Canellas, and talk about the blessing and the lesson. No, the thing about it is that mentioning specifically or more so about the Black culture in terms of raising kids. I want to ask you, in terms of different races, ethnicity, do you find, because I'm sure you're dealing with parents from all different types, backgrounds, and so on. Is there a difference? Is there a difference with the Blacks, the Asians, the whites? What do you notice? Is there a common trend, and are there differences?
There are some commonalities. So I think every parent, regardless of their race, whether European American or European African American, Black, Asian, Latino, they want their kids to do well. So that's a commonality. Where there's some differences is people of color, so Black, Latino, Asian American, Native American, etc., tend to be more collectivistic. It tends to be about the community. And that sometimes can create some problems when we're talking about parenting and autonomy, because we're a collectivistic culture. So when sometimes Black people want to move away and go on their own and do certain things that maybe are not traditional, they encounter some issues because it feels like they're not being collectivistic. And that's not maybe the case, but it feels like that to the family and the community. So we tend to have it a little bit more difficult because we always have to keep in mind that some of the decisions that we make may not be seen as being productive for the community and the family. And that those are systems that are very important to us. So that's different from when I've worked with European American families or Europeans who have a more individualistic mentality. Like, particularly in America, it's like, I'm gonna pull myself up by the bootstraps, and it's me against the world, and they don't think as much about community and family. I see that with Asian Americans and Latinos as well. They struggle when they get to college, because I work on college campuses as well. They struggle when they get to college because they want to do something that maybe isn't traditional, and the family may initially not be very supportive of that.
Yeah.
So there are some differences.
I'm having a little challenge with hearing everything that you're saying sometimes. I don't know why. So you can probably just talk up, raise your voice a little bit.
Okay.
And talk a little bit slow. I don't know if there's the internet connection or something is happening today, but I'm still getting you, and I can get the gist. That whole thing about community with Blacks and our need to move away is something that not only happens in the States, it happens in the Caribbean as well. Yes. And I think it's all over. The need to just move away, start on our own. I don't know if it's a need for independence, to feel I can do it on my own. I don't really need, I don't know, compared to probably the whites or because the Indian community, I'm talking to you from Trinidad and Tobago, which is an island in the Caribbean, and we are very multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious. So I live in that type of community. And when you look at the Indian community and the Chinese community,
yes,
stay together. They're tightly knit because they believe in a sort of unity that together we will make it.
yes.
Together we will make it. So it's very tight. They share the same house. Everybody lives in the same house, pool the resources so everybody can grow.
Yes.
But the Blacks, which happens to some extent, they want to move. They want to get out of that and have their own. Why is that?
Honestly, I think there's a difference sometimes in where we are today as a group.
Mm-hmm.
So Black folks, African descended people, whether in the Caribbean or the US or Africa, they share similar values. And that those values are usually collectivistic. It's about community. Modern society encourages us to move away and be more independent. So I see that too here, like you mentioned here, you'll see Latino families, Indian families, Asian families that are a little bit more collectivistic, but new generations, younger generations, millennials, tend to be more like what you're talking about. They tend to want to move away from the community. They're more open to maybe interracial relationships. They're more open to things that are not gender specific. Like there may be some cultures, there are rules for women that are different from European culture, where they might be more open to women now having certain kinds of jobs. In other cultures of color, there's still sometimes hesitancy for people to do things that are not traditional. But I think it has a lot to do with the timing, because I think for African descended people, there was a time when we were much more collectivistic. We pulled our resources, and multi-generational families lived together, and there was a grandparent sometimes in the house, and aunties and uncles, and it was much more
cousins, the whole house.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we're moving a little bit away from
right.
And I think that has to do with the time that things are more open for us to do that, you know.
Technology.
And my parents grew up, or my grandparents grew up in segregation, so they couldn't really, you know, move out. It was about the community.
No,
you had to
you had to stay together.
You had to be with the community, honestly, because the community was protected.
Moving out. Moving out was not an option.
No, it's not an option. So the community was protective, and there were resources within the community. People favored the businesses of their ways, and as we got more freedom, civil rights movement, there were shifts, and so those shifts created, I think, more independence, and we probably see that in the Caribbean too. You know, that there were shifts after, you know, the issues. There were shifts around the political changes. Is what I should say.
So with freedom comes a cost.
Correct. Right. So we have to be mindful.
That's another topic.
But that's what we've been weaving that through today's topic too, because I think that that's important. Like when we're talking about these issues of family, we have to consider culture. And culture is important, and that is a protective factor for many of the people that I've worked with. If you move too far away from your culture, you're going to have a problem. Because you don't have the support that you had when you're in that collectivistic environment. So
that's the point. That's the point, Dr. Canellas. I think you hit the nail on the head in this entire interview.
Yes.
With freedom, there's a cost. And the more we move away from what really kept us together, you know, it puts us at risk.
Absolutely.
So we need to strike a balance. Oh my God, that was a light bulb moment there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And with everything, I think you're right. With everything, it is a balance. So
Yeah.
there are some good things, as I was saying earlier, about what our parents and grandparents did that we want to keep. And there's some things that were not so good in some families that we want to, correct, like verbal abuse or child abuse or partner abuse. Those are things that never have been good. And so those are things, if they're passed down intergenerationally, we want to correct. But we want to keep the good stuff. Culture and family is good stuff. Those are things that are protected. And those are things that when I would see clients, I'd always ask about social support, and community support, family support. And people that were disconnected, they were the ones who generally were coming to see me. So it was always about connecting them to things that were important. So maybe it was connecting them to the family or to their church or whatever was important within that community.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're supposed to be rounding up this show from a long time ago, Dr. Canellas, but I am the host of this show, and I could do what I want.
That's right.
But I have another guest coming on shortly, but I don't want to miss a couple of things on this show that I want to really bring out. And one is what I touched on with you, is you're so young and you're a clinical psychologist. How in heaven's name do you have a 40-page resume and you're looking so young?
Well, you're so kind. I don't tell a lot of people this, but I'm close to 50. Yeah, I'll be 50 in June. Yeah, so that's.
I think it's the bald look. You look fabulous. But 50,
thank you.
But 50 is not old. 50 is not old. And to have a 40-page resume, that means that if I were to max it out for every year, you have 1 page. So you really should be 40 as opposed to 50.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I did a lot and I did it young. So I went straight from undergrad to graduate school, and I finished the doctorate about 28 years old. And so I've been working in the field since then. So I have about 21 years of experience in different capacities as a psychologist. So seeing clients, administrative, and teaching. So I've been busy.
You've been busy.
Yeah. That's why it's so long. Yeah.
And I'm going to bring up something shortly. I want you to stay where you are. I'm going to bring up something and give you a little surprise here. Just give me a second.
Okay.
You have some explaining to do. So I'm going to put you, yeah, I'm going to be a mommy today.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. Yeah, I'm going to be a mommy today. You hold on. You have some explaining to do. Hold on.
Okay.
Are you seeing that?
Yes.
Yes, you need to explain this picture, right? You need to explain what you're doing with Oprah, right?
Yes. So a lot of people ask about that. So that was taken at a film screening in Los Angeles. So she was in the film, and I believe was the executive producer. It was the film Selma.
Oh yeah.
Which came out a couple of years ago. And she had a role in that, and I think she also had, as I said, a producing role in it. And she came with one of the stars, the gentleman that played Martin Luther King. They were both there. They did a question and answer. So this was after she was kind enough to chat with people and take pictures.
Nice. So how is she? How is she meeting her?
She was lovely.
Yeah.
The question that I've gotten, I don't know why people ask this, was how does she smell? What? How does she smell?
So I guess you're supposed to
like $1 million. That's how she smells. Like $1 billion. She smells great. I don't know why, but honestly, that's a lot of people are asking, like, how does she smell? I'm like, she smells great. Like, she's gonna smell like. What do you think?
No, look here. I wonder if people ask her, how did Dr. Canellas smell? How does he smell?
Yeah, I doubt that they ask her that, or that she would really remember that. But she's lovely. I was on her show via satellite like a few years before that when she redid the book club.
Oh yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, so I didn't get to go to Chicago. It was by satellite in LA.
By satellite.
Yeah, it was great.
That worked.
Yeah, because I got to talk to her on camera, and that was fun. But yeah, she is an inspiration.
Yeah.
And you know, I love what she's doing in terms of media and educating the public. And so she is on my cover page of my Facebook.
No, this is not a guy who looks like 50, okay?
Well, thank you.
50-year-olds do not wear their caps behind here, okay? Okay, I'm just letting you know.
50.
I'm just letting you know. 50-year-olds don't look like this and wear their caps like that, okay?
Yeah.
50-year-olds don't wear these type of, you know, shirts that look young people-ish, okay?
Yeah.
People don't do that. So if you're really 50, as you say, you need to change that and look like a 50-year-old, okay?
Well, that's my version of 50.
That's
my version of 50. So I have different versions. And if you look at the page, I have different looks.
Hey, this is my favorite.
Yeah, that's your favorite, huh?
This is my favorite.
Yeah,
I think you're trying to do the Jackson 5 thing there.
Yes.
You know,
that was Halloween.
Really?
Yeah, it was Halloween, and said I was going to go back to the 70s and pull out my afro.
You got an afro, baldy, Dr. Canellas, you have an afro.
I had one as a child in the 70s. So I decided to bring it back. I clearly don't have it now. I did have one in the 70s, so I said, let me bring it back.
You guys are giving the Michael and the Jackson 5 a run.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're not saying nothing. I'm telling you. They're not saying a thing with you guys over there. I'm telling you. You guys are looking really great.
Yeah, we all looked like we were from the 70s that day.
Oh yeah. I'm just scrolling through your profile and I saw some cute things. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, so that's another Halloween picture. My afro is a little flat there because I had a cap on. I had a cap on. I had to pick it out later because I had to put a cap on top of it, an Applejack hat, and that just didn't go so well. So it's
I don't think so. Look at that. What's going on with that? Really?
That's when you use the little pick and you bring it back to life because it was
and you gotta pat it down. You remember Steve Harvey had it really down. I mean that man's fro was perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So next Halloween, please, right? The hair day, please fix it up. Okay.
Yes, I will. Well, I won't be the same thing next year. I'm not sure what I'll be next year, but I will get my costume together.
Okay. So Dr. Canellas, you have anything that you want to share? I mean, we shared so much already, but in terms of your book, in terms of any giveaways, anything that you would want to offer the audience?
So I have not finished the book yet, but you'll be the first to know.
Oh, I'm so honored.
Yes, and hopefully you'll have me back when that's done.
Okay.
And talk about the book and some of the lessons that I'd like to share with folks from the book.
Right.
But I can tell you that I'm starting to do life coaching.
Good.
If folks are interested in life coaching, we can do that in the same format that you and I are doing this. You can do it via Skype. You can call in. They don't necessarily have to come and see me in person.
No.
If they're interested in doing that, they can find me on Facebook or Twitter. Under Gregory Canellas is my Facebook account. My Twitter is Dr. G. Canellas, CANILLAS. They can send me a direct message and then we can schedule some time.
Beautiful.
Actually, for your audience, the first session will be free.
I'm the first one in. Put my name down.
First session will be free.
Yeah.
It'll be an introduction to the coaching process, and we'll talk about what that person hopes to gain from the coaching process, and then we can talk about whether we'll continue or not. But I'd be happy to do that if anybody wants to reach out and schedule a time to do it.
What does your students, let's round up the show by saying, what does your students think about you? What do they say? What do they say?
Mostly they say good things, I think. We have actually really good discussions. It's very much like what you and I have had today. There's a lot of laughter. We talk a lot about cases and, you know, how to work in the field and how to be culturally appropriate. Because there are a lot of students that are going to have clients who are a different culture or background from themselves.
Yeah.
But the class that I had on Monday, they're hilarious. Most of the classes I have, they're funny. And they probably would be, I'll be sure to let them know about this show. They'll probably be watching it and may make comments about it, but they're great people. They're great folks. They want to make an impact on the community to help families and individuals.
Yeah.
And so I'm blessed to work with the people that I work with.
Yes.
And, mostly they say good things, I hope.
Yeah, I have to ask them. I have to ask them behind your back.
Please do. Please do. But then you gotta tell me what they said.
No, I don't know about that. There's a secret code. There's a secret code. Ethics.
That's right. That's right. You want to protect their confidentiality.
That's right. I cannot share that.
Okay. But hopefully it'll be good.
Yes, I'm sure it would be. Dr. Canellas, it's been a pleasure. We spent about an hour on the show.
Okay.
You know, having so much fun, going back in time to your fro days. You know, I mean, this has been awesome. You shared your 7 parenting tips to be more effective. I hope those who listen to the show really, really gather valuable information and they don't take it, like we say, personally. It's really about improving and to make the generations that come to be better.
Absolutely.
It's been an honor. It's been an honor, and I look forward to reaching out to you to do more of these, you know, and to share more of what you know, to help us as human beings, as mothers, as fathers, although the stress is normally on the mothers, but mothers and fathers, as well as caregivers, because it's not just the mothers and fathers, caregivers and supporting relatives to know the best way to create a healthy environment for our children. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed myself. I did. It was so much fun, and I look forward to coming back again.
Yes, we will have you. We will have you definitely. So make sure you pencil it in your busy schedule that you're going to be back on the show.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.